Good morning, everybody. It's Laura here from Organised. Just wanted to come on and I thought I'd do a video because I'm actually having a bit of a declutter myself this morning. I work from home, and so I haven't actually got a dedicated office. I tend to work wherever the mood takes me. So I might work upstairs in one of the bedrooms, I might work in the dining room, and we've also got a little desk in kind of the playroom garden area back there. So I kind of work anywhere really, and that's really freeing. It means I can just do whatever I fancy. But the thing that I'm finding, being kind of new to home working, is that I haven't always got everything that I want with me. So I'm going to make myself a little kind of office in a box. My husband, he also does some working from home, so we find that we're kind of moving each other's stuff out of the way. And I've got lots of things that I've accumulated that I've kind of kept or put aside, and business cards and bits of paper end up everywhere. So I want to be super organised. I want to have it all in one place. If I have an office in a box, I can take it to whichever space I want to work in that day. I should have everything I need, and I'm not kind of constantly moving my husband's stuff out the way and trying to find my things. So I thought I'd talk you through what I'm going to be doing. Let me just turn my camera around so that you can see. Can I do that? Oh, no, I can't. So I'm going to show you this way instead. So here, I've got all the kind of stuff that I've pulled together that I kind of need to have a good sort through. And my approach is really kind of thinking about what I need to be able to do my work really productively and effectively. But also I've got loads of stuff that I've gathered over time that I kind of need to have a look through and decide whether I want to keep it or not. So I found that I've got some bits from a previous job that I had that I kind of was keeping because they were of sentimental value, or I might use them in future. So what I've done with this wheel that we did in a team event is I've kept it because it's got some really lovely things written by my colleagues, and I just kind of, it's lovely to have a bit of a boost to remind myself of things that people have said in the past. So I've been holding on to that for quite some time now, and what I've decided to do is take a photo of it, and I'm going to keep the photo, and I'm actually going to put this in the recycling because I can't keep holding on to it forever. I can put a photo up somewhere if I want to be reminded of it, or I can just browse through my photos from time to time. The other things that I've got here, I've got a number of boxes that I've got together. So this is going to be my office in a box, and what I'm going to do, I'm actually reusing a box that I've had before. So I'm going to change the label to make it Laura's office in a box. I've also got this handy magazine file thing that I had lots of stuff in. There's all my stuff piled up, and I might choose to use that as well. So I've got another box here. So I'm just going to decide what I want to keep where, and the box is going to give me some options. So what I've got here is a stack of stuff to work through, and basically I've got books that I haven't got round to reading yet. I've got leaflets and useful bits of paper, things that actually I've shoved in a corner that I know I need to sort out. So I've got bank statements and I've got pension stuff. So what I'm going to do is just look through and think about, what do I need to keep? So for pensions records, of course, I need to keep information about where my pension is. I might want to keep for the moment the latest value, so that if I want to go back and just look through and understand what my pension's going to be, then I've got the latest information. If I've got older information that I'm keeping that tells me the value, clearly that's now out of date. So what I'm going to do with that is shred it if it's got any of my personal details on, or recycle it if it's just a general leaflet. So that doesn't need to live in my work box. It needs to go in my papers box, where I'm keeping important papers that I will need in the future. So that's pensions things. I've got notes here about a project that I'm working on at the moment, so clearly I need those. So what I'm going to do is keep them in my office box. I'm going to file them so that I can find them, and I will also be putting a diary entry in my phone to remind me to come back to that and make sure that once it's out of date that I am getting rid of it, because clearly I don't need to keep notes about things that are too old. I know that, in the past I've kept folders from university courses that I've attended and things like that. And yes, you do need them whilst you're studying, of course you do. And they're worth keeping for a short period of time once you've completed your studies, because you might want to refer to them. You might want to look at fairly recent research and things that, are relatively up to date. But once they're, I don't know, it depends on the field, but once they become out of date, there is no point in keeping those notes. If you haven't looked at them in a long time, and actually if you need to be looking up more up-to-date information, you're better off with Google or going and finding the latest research, buying the latest book. So really, notes from university, once they're perhaps a year old or whatever, are really useless. So I'm going to take the same approach with notes about that I've been keeping, because they're on a current project, so I need them. I'm going to keep them, but I will review in 6 months' time whether I still need to keep them if I still have them. Bank statements and things, again, I get a lot of it online now, so I don't really need to keep paperwork for banks. I might, again, keep the latest one if it's about my mortgage or my latest interest, because I need to do a tax return, so it'll be useful to have that to hand. But otherwise, I don't really need lots of old things. I might want to keep the latest copy of terms and conditions sent through by my bank. But if I've got older copies, then I will replace those with the latest ones, get rid. I've got books here that I intend to read. Looking at them, they're not that old, so I'm not going to get rid of any, but I do need to make a note for myself, and I need to make sure that I make time to read them very soon. If I don't read them very soon, then I need to be asking myself, really, do I intend to read them? Are they going to be useful? And if not, if I've not got around to reading them and actually they probably don't add any value and I haven't got the time, then I'm going to give them away. There's lots of schemes for giving books away, donating them, book exchanges. So I'll be using those sorts of things, because actually I bought the book. I may not read it. I may choose not to make sure that I read it, but I want to make sure it goes to a good home and that someone else gets the benefit of the book. So I'll be doing that. I've got quite a few books in here, actually. So the reality is I intended to read them and haven't got round to it. Am I really going to? So the ones that I do need to read and will be planning some time in to make sure I read, I need to keep in my office box to make sure that I do get to them. What else have I got in here? So I've also got some magazines I intended to read that I am subscribed to. And you know what? I love subscribing to magazines, and I love being able to kind of read what's up to date, keep myself updated, but I don't always get to them. And my husband laughs at me because periodically I'll come up with here's a magazine in a plastic bag that I haven't actually read. So what I do with that is just bite the bullet and say, okay, I haven't read it. It's now, a few months out of date. Is it going to add value? If I've got a few minutes, I might open it, flick through, find any key articles, recipes, whatever it is that interests me. Maybe rip that bit out, maybe read it quickly, and then recycle or pass the magazine on, because it's no good holding on to it intending to read it. If you haven't read it in the last month or so, there's a good likelihood you're not going to, because you'll get a new one. Other things are coming up. So, having that approach really helps me just to kind of be really ruthless and make decisions on the spot. Sometimes just think, I want to read it, but I haven't had time yet. I haven't got time now, and put it to one side. Effectively, what I'm doing is delaying a decision as to what I really am going to do with that magazine. So yeah, you just need sometimes just to ask yourself that question, make that decision, and just go with it. Okay, so I've also got useful stationery, lots of notebooks that are kind of tore out the bits that I have used, and now I've got kind of a half empty notebook that I could use. Those are really worth keeping, because you can, when you want to scribble something down, you can never find anything. So what I'm going to do is put those in my office box and make sure that they're accessible so I can use them, scribble down my ideas. it's no good keeping lots of notes and notepads and things full of ideas, because they do go out of date, and if you haven't gone back to them, then you're probably not going to. But sometimes, rather than kind of writing something in your phone or typing something up, you want to just scribble, have a drawing, do a diagram. I'm a great fan of a diagram, and having paper available to do that is really helpful. So that's going to form a kind of key part of my office in a box. So just rummaging through, I seem to have quite a lot of notepads that are kind of half used. I've got post-it notes and pocket files and little notepads with lots of ideas in. Gets to the point where actually you've got far too much stationery, and I'm going to look then at, giving some away, making some available to my daughter, because she loves scribbling, writing, drawing and all of that, so she might as well get good use of them, so that I've just got a few key notepads that I'm actually going to use and that I love. I've got a friend who adores stationery, and at every opportunity is out buying stationery, going to a few famous shops to buy gorgeous stationery. And I think that's a really great idea. When you are working and you want to be creative, you are busy in life and going through everything that you need to do, sometimes just having a beautiful piece of stationery, something nice to look at, something that feels really nice to write in, to write your ideas, your thoughts, your shopping lists, whatever it is such an enjoyable thing. And it's just worth having good stationery if you find it. So I'm going to keep the pieces, the notepads and things that bring me some joy. So I'm going to have a good sort out here. I'm going to recycle as much as possible, get rid of as much as I can, because I don't need to keep loads of stuff. When do you look back over it? If I'm working, I want to be able to focus on the tasks at hand. I want to be really clear about what I need to be doing and need to be achieving. So I don't want loads of clutter and muddle and mess in my office in a box. So I'm going to have a sort out, and then I'll take some photos of what I've produced, and then you can see kind of how I've done it. Hope you enjoy this little demonstration, and please, send me any comments, drop me a note if you're interested in what I've been doing, or if you've got any ideas, I'd love to hear them. So that's Laura from Organised Well. Lovely to speak to you. Bye now.